Alright, Van stream today with simple stuff of MMe-Glam support along with some Lascaria support and an Overlord promo with the attack name basically. So let's begin. So first off, let's start off with the MMe-Glam stuff with thumbs up for our brar, which is grade 2 with taking power and the skill is Act Regard. If you have at least a grade 3 MMe-Glam Vanguard, cost retire this unit, choose a normal unit that's MMe-Glam from a drop zone, call it to rearguard, and if your opponent's Vanguard is at least grade 3 plus 5k. It's basically just simple cycling out, and sometimes you might want some certain resources from the drop zone, so it's overall not too bad, but you might have other cards that is preferred, like the ones that actually straight up +1 than the trade, but can still be pretty useful because it doesn't cost you anything but a retire. And then we go to MMe-Glam support drum Rimrill, which is a great one with keep power and the skill is auto back row center rearguard. When this unit boosts, and if you have at least a grade 3 Vanguard MMe-Glam, this unit gets +5 keep power at the end of the battle, and then if your opponent's Vanguard is at least grade 3 at the end of the battle, cost discard a card from your hand, retire this unit, choose one of your Vanguards, and change its drive check to 2 into the end turn. If you guys don't remember, the grade 3 superior rides to grade 0, hence why it changes the drive to 2 with this card, basically giving this grade 0 the drive check of 2. And if you guys are just wondering, yes, both skills will be on standby at the same time at the end of the battle, meaning that you want to do the superior ride first, and then this part activates for the grade 0. So overall pretty good, but you do need to combo it with certain other cards, like the one that changes the grade 0 into a 13k, so this making it drive 2 makes it feel like it's a grade 3. And giving rewriting Vanguard's extra drives is always very strong. And then for some Veleno support, we start off with Veleno Dorion, which is a grade 1 with keep power and the skill is auto. When placed on rearguard, if your Vanguard is at least a grade 3 Lascaria, soul charge 1, very helpful because the deck can actually run out of soul sometimes, in which the second skill is auto rearguard. When this unit boosts at least a grade 3 Veleno, and you charge 1. The extra energy just helps just for the blitz order basically. Sometimes you will run out of energy, so the extra energy charge is quite helpful sometimes, but I will say your grade 1 spot is a bit tight right now, but it's also worth trying out. And then we go to Veleno Gregarious, which is a grade 2 with tank power and the skill is auto. If your Vanguard is at least a grade 3 insect, this card can also be paid by soul blasting 1 and energy blasting 2. So when placed on rearguard, other than from battle, and it has to be from hand, cost counter blast 1, choose a drop zone card with a different name from this unit and call it to rearguard if it's grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, but if it's a blitz order, you put it to your hand. Once again, Veleno getting another superior caller. This time it works with insect and not just Veleno, which can be a bit worrisome because if they make more insect decks in the future, this is going to become a generic for it, especially adding the second skill where count rearguard during turn if your Vanguard is at least a grade 3 insect plus 5k. So it's also a nice 15k attacker on its own that can do a superior call whether you want to do a counter blast or soul blast energy blast 2. But it has a third skill, which is a lot for a grade 2. Auto rearguard once per turn. When your at least grade 3 Vanguard Lascaria attacks, cost counter blast 1, stand this unit, and if your opponent's Vanguard is at least grade 3, plus 5k into the end turn. So basically it's like the grade 3 that can restand itself, but it's not restricted on your opponent being at least grade 3 for it to restand. This one can still restand, but it gets the extra power buff if your opponent's at least grade 3. Not only that, it's a superior caller, which of course will just make it better than the grade 3 while also being a 15k attacker. So overall this might just straight up replace the grade 3 overall, unless if you just want to split it up a bit. But also insect restriction rather than archetype restriction, which can actually make it expensive if they actually make more insect related decks. But for Lascaria itself, it's definitely a good new addition, even though some of the cards already do what it does and they just made something even better for some reason. And finally, the promo card for Skyride Volume 3, Scarlet Flame, or Crimson Flame depending on how they want to translate it. So it's a grade 1 normal order and you just straight up play it. So you draw a card and then choose a card from your hand, reveal it, and call it to rearguard if it's grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, or discard it if it's not. And then choose one of your opponent's front row rearguards and retire it, but if you could not retire, the called unit gets with 5k power. So it's a 1-for-1 filter, which is not too bad, but it's more important with the drop zone part, because act drop zone if your Vanguard is Overlord and you do not have a card with the same card name as this card bound this turn, cost energy blast 3, bind this card, perform one of the following abilities. That's why it says as long as you didn't bound during the turn. Search your deck for up to 1 Overlord that is the different card name to your Vanguard and write it as stand, and of course shuffle your deck. Or if your Vanguard has a Persona Ride ability and you did not ride from grade 2 this turn, cost discard card from hand and activate Persona Ride. Basically what this does is that it lets you consistently ride to your grade 3 Crossride. by riding on regular Overlord first, and then after that this one just consistently gets you to Crossride immediately to make the end at full power, or any Overlord in the future. But the other part is basically letting you Persona ride without actually Persona riding, if you actually fail to Persona ride. And the other nice part is that since it has a drop zone ability, this could become discard fodder as well. So yeah, for a new card for Overlord that is an order, this is actually very good, and it might even be expensive because of Overlord. And so that's it for this support wave of MMe-Glam along with Lascurio and a new Overlord card. What do you guys think of them? Overall, they're just all cool new support, in particular the high rarity and promos. The MMe-Glam stuff is just helpful. Lascurio is definitely an improvement to some of the ones that I already have, but it's just a combination of certain other cards. The only worrisome part is the insect restriction rather than Lascurio. And as for the Overlord promo, just a bit worried that will be expensive if you're going to play an Overlord deck. But it is a very good card for Overlord, being a consistency, full power, Dragonic Overlord at the end. In a way, I would think of it as a skip one turn Crossride type card. But on that, that's it for this, and see you all next time.